Charlie Crist looked in the mirror and had one of those brief flashes of honesty and insight that politicians rarely have. And he said, "Man, I suck at this." How to lose an election with this one weird prick. Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott, and this is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. And I want to talk to you today about the worst major politician in America. The one-time and never will be again Florida governor, one-time Republican, sort of Democrat. I don't know what the hell he is. Charlie Crist. We know this much about him. He is the new Democrat nominee for Florida governor up against Ron DeSantis. And man, is this guy going to go down in flames. Gentlemen, I won't bore you with Crist's 15-year history of bad decisions, ill-timed party switches, moving down the ladder of political promotions and all the rest. But I do want to tell you that somehow this weird, unwarm, odd-looking guy who apparently always has to have a fan underneath his table, there's a weird bit of trivia for you, somehow wrangled the Democratic gubernatorial nomination. And his first acts will impress you in their, I don't know, is blunderful a word? In their blunderfulness. His first act, Bill, upon getting the nomination, was to go on television and tell Ron DeSantis voters, keep in mind, Ron DeSantis is one of the most popular governors in America. He told Ron DeSantis voters that he's going to have to win over, that I don't want your vote because your hearts are filled with hate. And if that weren't enough, he then named Florida Teachers Union president, I can't remember which union, Carla Hernandez-Matz as his running mate. She's been waging this sort of one-woman war on Florida parents. She called them, what did she call them? Oh, she called concerned parents soldiers of faux rage because they wanted, their kids going back to school. Her union for 12 years covered up for a teacher who eventually pled guilty to sexual assault of a student. What else did she do? Oh, and she also tweeted a cartoon comparing parents to movie killers like Pennywise, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Leatherface. And then to really just seal the deal with Florida voters, Charlie Crist did something no other Democrat in America is doing right now. Well, no other vulnerable Democrat is doing. He is openly embracing Joe Biden and saying he's a phenomenal president. Bill, I know I went on a little longer than I usually do for the intro, but it was to set up this question. Is there a single constituency that Charlie Crist needs to win that he hasn't pissed off?
Well, I'm not even a constituent, and he's pissed me off. So I'm imagining his reach is greater than his grasp. I spent 25 years in Florida, the first part of which I spent in Miami. The second part I spent up in Gainesville. And if you live in Miami, you have to drive north to get to the south. And as I would say in the neighborhood around Gainesville, is that boy ain't right. There's something wrong with that guy. He's an astonishingly inept politician, but more importantly, and I think probably more interestingly, he's one of these people, and this really pretty much all of them, all of these progressives don't realize just, number one, how unpopular their policies are, and number two, the shellacking that they're taking. This has been their polar star, these politics, for their entire lives. And they are incapable of seeing just how out of touch they are and how catastrophic they are. And when I say virtually all progressives, they continue to make things like, the latest reports are they're going to bring back Chris Evans to make Captain America, but they want to bring him back so they can make Captain America less American. They don't want him to be representing America. They want to make him a little more, considerably more anti-American. And there's talk about the next Batman being gay and all the rest of it. And these people really think that this is progressive, that this is where the country's going and where the country wants to go. And he's wrong, which is not a first for Charlie Crist. he's an odd duck. But the thing that is most striking about Charlie Crist is, you're right, Steve, he's the worst politician I've ever seen. And he's the best that the Democrats have in Florida, which is the state, right? I mean, every presidential election seems to turn on Florida. And once Florida's called, that's pretty much going to be the guy who wins, unless, of course, there's 2020, in which case Florida wasn't called until after 103% of the vote had reported, and Arizona was called at 4% or whatever. But you remember those happy days. So if this is the best that the Democrats can put up in Florida, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, me too. Come to think of it. Let's keep that feeling until November. Scott, slightly more seriously, Florida has really been the place the last couple of years where Democrat ideas go to die, or at least get proven wrong. They opened the schools earlier than anybody else, and everybody did not die. The lockdowns in Florida were brief and comparatively mild. Taxes are low. The budget's balanced. All of this stuff. New Yorkers are leaving New York, moving to Florida, and registering as Republicans. The more people that move to Florida, the redder it gets. It's really a place where conservative ideas have been enacted and shown to work, and Democrat ideas go, well, they go there to die. So do you think a smarter politician than Charlie Crist, well, smarter boiled turnip than Charlie Crist, might use this opportunity to try and rebrand his party and make a real national name for himself, not as an embarrassment, even if he were to lose?
Or at the very least, try to connect with people who are inclined to vote with Governor DeSantis and say, hey, this guy really isn't he doesn't represent your principles, connect him with Donald Trump or whatever you want to do, but try to make a division within DeSantis's base that would be able to peel off some voters in his direction, which he's definitely going to need. The first time I ran for county executive years ago, I was recruited by the Republican county chairman to do so. And at the time, I thought, well, this is kind of weird. And I pretty quickly decided that the reason why he had asked me to run was, A, I had a pulse, and B, no one else with a pulse wanted to do it. And that was the upshot of it, Nevertheless, I got within like 2 points of a very popular incumbent Democrat. Afterward, a couple of years later, I lost the race, but a couple of years later, I was again persuaded that there was nobody else around who could run this election against now the handpicked successor to that popular Democrat. I also lost by 2 points. So I lost by 2 points when nobody knew me. I lost by 2 points when everybody knew me. And I have a feeling that Charlie Crist thinks he is there to run against Governor DeSantis, but he's really just there because they don't have anybody else. Nobody else can do it. And the only person who's really going to be hurt by this is Governor DeSantis. And it's not because he's going to face a real challenge. It's because he won't. And he really needs to be sharpening his skills in preparation for what everybody believes is going to be an eventual presidential run. This is not a good scrimmage for him. This is like, the B team couldn't make it to practice. And so, the 90-pound team then had to go scrimmage the 65-pound team. And that's what he's getting here.
Well, maybe that's it. In any case, I get the idea. DeSantis is so attacked every day, not by the Florida media, although he is, but by the national media, because he's seen as a real threat in 2024 or 2028 at the latest. And so he and Christina Pushaw, his former press secretary, who's now working for his campaign, they are just animals. They are 24/7 rapid response. They are organized. They execute. And I'm totally getting off topic here. Anyway, I don't think Ron DeSantis has to worry about his edge getting dull because he's getting tested by the national press every day. That said, I have a theory about Charlie Crist, and I'm sure it isn't true. It's not even a hypothesis, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. He is actually the best Republican in the country right now, other than maybe a couple others. There was a brief moment about 12 years ago when Charlie Crist looked in the mirror and had one of those brief flashes of honesty and insight that politicians rarely have. And he said, man, I suck at this. I'm really bad at politics. And then he re-registered as a Democrat and started running as a Democrat because that was the very best thing that he could ever do to help his real party, the GOP. I'm probably wrong, but I don't think it's any crazier or any stupider than anything else we've seen the last couple of years. All right, that's your right angle on that. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, do me one more favor. Click the notification thing, the thumbs up thing, the 5-star thing, whatever it is that gives us a good rating and lets you know when we're back on the air, because then you get to see more of this great content, right? And if you're not a member of BillWhittle.com, we'd love to have you on board. Go to BillWhittle.com. Join today. All right, I'll stop now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.